Welcome back. Our next story highlights the case of Bethany Hughes. She's an Alberta teenager who grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. Now, based on their interpretation of the Bible, Jehovah's Witnesses do not believe in blood transfusions. And when Bethany became ill, doctors gave her the transfusions against her will. Bethany's story tests the boundaries between medical intervention and faith. That's the line we explore in today's Double Vision. Bethany Abigail Hughes was 16 years old when she developed an aggressive form of leukemia. Doctors recommended chemotherapy treatments.
The context was her belief as one of Jehovah's Witnesses and blood transfusions.
David Ganam served as the lawyer representing Bethany Hughes.
They need blood transfusions to truly be able to save the patient, bring them back up for the next round of chemotherapy. And it was Bethany's refusal to accept blood transfusions in that context that caused the overall situation as it developed.
David Upton has been researching religious groups for the past 15 years. His sister and nephew are Jehovah's Witnesses.
I'm not sure that anyone can justify sacrificing their own life or the life of their child based on anything in Scripture. I don't think God requires that of us.
To keep abstaining from things sacrificed idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication. If you carefully keep yourselves from these things, you will prosper. Good health to you.
First point I would make really is that the scriptures are not a modern medical text, and that they are not at all comprehensive in terms of what we know today about diseases, about treatments.
Dr. Daniel Osmond spent years researching physiology as it relates to blood.
You replace the lost blood, you save that life. And to have a religious really a misapplication of a religious perspective basically cause death. It almost becomes like a homicide from a practitioner's point of view.
I think the average Jehovah's Witness follower believes in the ban on blood transfusion and holds to it out of a sincere desire to please God. I really believe these people are sincere. They don't want to kill people. I don't believe that.
I think the word violated is probably the best word here. She obviously felt compromised as a person. What was being done to her was something that she did not believe in and did not want. And so I think there's a religious reaction to that from Bethany's standpoint, that she was no longer able to have the same relationship with her God that she had before.
I'm not sure that the people who came up with this policy to begin with really thought through the implications of what they were doing.
But what exactly were Bethany Hughes' rights under Canadian law?
In the province of Ontario, to begin with, a young person at any age has the freedom to consent or refuse medical treatment if they are mature enough, if they are capable of making that choice for themselves.
There's an added twist to Bethany's story. When she became ill, Bethany's father abandoned his faith as a Jehovah's Witness and sided with the doctors who treated his daughter. Since Bethany's death, Lawrence Hughes has initiated a class action lawsuit against the Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower Society. We'll keep you posted.
Bethany was a sick, frightened child, being constantly reminded that if she accepted a blood transfusion, she would be shunned by her family and by her congregation and by all the friends that she had been allowed to have during her lifetime, and be destroyed by God at Armageddon. When I signed a consent form for my daughter to receive a blood transfusion, I knew that I would lose my family, I would lose all the friends I've been allowed to have for over 20 years, and I would lose my faith. And
but you wanted to do that?
To give my daughter a chance to live. Every day, Jehovah's Witnesses are dying because they refuse blood transfusions, including children. What the defendants did to my daughter was despicable, cruel, and criminal. If the Watchtower Society had left my daughter alone, she would have had a fighting chance to live. Any Jehovah's Witness, whether they're 14 or 40 or 80 years of age, are not capable of giving informed consent regarding medical treatment. I'll never give up until there's justice.
I would like to think that Jehovah's Witnesses are relieved when the child welfare steps in to save their children, because then that takes them off the hook. They're still in good standing with the congregation, and they haven't broken any of the Watchtower Society laws, like reliving the nightmare all over again.
There's taking away people's rights and freedoms, and they're using institutional coercion and brainwashing and intimidation to control their members. I have two daughters in this religion, and I don't want them to die because of this religion. I'm concerned that this lawsuit will be discontinued because I don't have the money to pay a law firm to represent me, and I've been without a lawyer now for over a year. Every day, Jehovah's Witnesses are dying because they refuse blood transfusions, including children. I'll never give up. I'll never give up. I'll never give up. I'll never give up. I'll never give up until there's justice.
Good evening. A grieving father lashes out at the Jehovah's Witness stand on blood transfusions.
He's traveling across Canada to speak out about the faith he and his supporters believe cost his daughter her life. Alex Pearson with the story.
And he lost her 3 years ago, age 17. Okay, so that's what we want to prevent happening to other kids.
Bethany Hughes was 17 when she started her battle with leukemia. 7 months later, the Calgary teen was dead after her court-enforced blood transfusions were discontinued. Bethany was a devout Jehovah's Witness whose religion forbid her from taking the life-saving procedure, a decision her father believes cost his child's life.
Every day, Jehovah's Witnesses are dying because they refuse blood transfusions, including children.
While Bethany originally refused to have blood transfusions, a Calgary court ordered that she have them against her will. Her father is now suing the Watchtower Society for the role he says they played in her death. Last month, a British Columbia teen came to Toronto hoping to avoid blood transfusions for a tumor. A judge ordered her back to BC after refusing to overturn a court decision saying the girl can't refuse transfusions if doctors say her life is at risk.
There's taking away people's rights and freedoms, and they're using institutional coercion and brainwashing and intimidation to control their members.
The The Jehovah's Witness Church denies that, saying members understand the faith they take part in.
Christians are commanded to abstain from blood. We don't believe in a burning hellfire, but we do believe that someone who has broken God's laws unrepentantly will meet basically God's unfavorable judgment. And that means they may not get to live in a paradise on earth.
The Calgary-based father's no longer a Jehovah's Witness. He's fighting for sole custody of his other 16-year-old daughter who lives with her mother, also a Jehovah's Witness. He wants governments to limit the powers of religious groups.
I have two daughters in this religion, and I don't want them to die because of this religion.
Lawrence Hughes is still looking for answers. He wants to know whether Bethany died because her transfusions were stopped or because the church prevented her from getting treatment early enough.